Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. This segment today is called Wicked Wednesday. If you didn't know, Wednesday is the new release for new comics that come out every week. This will help you pick the best comics that are dropping in terms of readability, speculation, etc. April of 2016 has been an outstanding month for new comics, and this week is no exception. DC Comics is giving us Batman number 51. You should be getting Batman every month regardless, but this is even more special because it's the end of the run for Scott Snyder as the writer and Greg Capullo is the artist. They've had one of the best runs in comics as a creative team in the 2000s so far. People have really been digging the John Romita variants, and number 51 has its own as well, and it looks fantastic. The Dark Knight watching over his city in the rain, brooding, it looks great. Next up is Harley Quinn number 27. This is the first full appearance of the Red Tool. Yes, the Red Tool is basically a Deadpool ripoff, but Deadpool was a ripoff of Deathstroke from DC Comics in the first place. His first appearance in a cameo was Harley Quinn number 26. A lot of people didn't know about it because he's not on the cover, but speculators know because the 1 in 25 variant of issue number 26 is going for about $50 right now. The Red Tool is a very interesting character in that his word bubbles actually look like the shape of tools. There's a variant for issue number 27 as well, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's too expensive and Red Tool is not on the cover. So you might as well go ahead and get number 26, regular cover, and number 27. I don't trust the variants right now. They cost way too much money for a character that might not catch on, and you're stuck with this overpriced variant. And you wind up selling it for less than you pay for it, and that is not where you want to be. Next up is Suiciders, Kings of LA, number 2. This is the story about the near future where the big earthquake has hit California and it's turned Los Angeles into a little island that has to survive on its own. The powers that be control the masses by distracting them with games, sort of like the gladiators of the Roman days, but they're called Suiciders. It's on the Vertigo line, which is a division of DC Comics. If your local comic store isn't carrying this, they're doing a disservice to their customers. Ask for it by name. Another overlooked gem on DC's Vertigo line was Jacked. This is the 6th and final episode of this series. It's the story of a middle-aged man who's in a real rut and having a midlife crisis. He winds up taking a synthetic drug which gives him the power of a superhero, and he's got to learn how to use that power. It's written with a sarcastic, self-deprecating type of style. It's really a shame that this was not a hit because it was a very, very good story. Next up, let's see what Marvel has up their sleeve, and that would be Amazing Spider-Man number 11. It appears they're moving Spider-Man into some type of mystical element here in a new type of genre. Cloak and Dagger have recently appeared as well, so I'm curious to see where they're going with Spider-Man now. Next up is Avengers Standoff, Pleasant Hill Omega number 1. This promises to be the finale of a big blockbuster event for the Avengers. The price tag is $1 more than normal. Of course, they're offering all types of variants like this one, which looks pretty cool. Next up is Marvel's Cash Cow, and that would be Star Wars with issue number 18. They're offering this cool looking cover, and of course they're offering the action figure variants. They've run out of cool characters to use, so they're really digging deep in the list of characters they can use, like this Power Droid, which is not really cool at all. Now it's time for my favorite part of the program, which is a report on indie comics and small publishers. And leading the charge is Image Comics. They give us Low number 13. This is the story of the future where the sun has expanded and made the earth uninhabitable, so humans have to live underground to survive. It's a very good tale. Next is Outcast number 18. This is the follow-up project for Robert Kirkman, the writer of The Walking Dead. This series also is going to become a television show on Cinemax this summer. It's the story of a man that was possessed by demons as a child. He teams up with a preacher to help those who are also possessed by demons to fight them off. Next up is a superhero spoof called Power Lines, and this is issue number 2. It's the story of an inner city black youth who becomes superpowered, but his powers only work in white neighborhoods. Next up is Sex Criminals number 15. This is the critically acclaimed series from Matt Fraction. It's about a man and a woman that realize that they can stop time when they orgasm, so they use that power to rob banks, and it gets them in a lot of trouble. Speaking of critical acclaim, Saga issue number 36 is now available. This is the series from Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, and it's a space opera. Think of Star Wars meets Total Recall meets Romeo and Juliet. It sells about 50,000 copies a month, which is tremendous for an indie, and it does it without any variants, any hypes, no gimmicks, just great storytelling and art every month. It's incredible. Saga #1 first print from 2012 is a very much in-demand collectible. Rated 9.8, sell for about $225, and they're only going higher. And that's with no movie buzz or anything like that. So imagine if they ever adapt this into a film, it will probably be going for twice that. In the meantime, go ahead and pick up Saga #36 while you're here. Next up, IDW Comics gives us Micronauts #1. If you're familiar with that name, it's a comic that was produced by Marvel back in 1979 through 1984. That comic was based on characters owned by Hasbro. So basically it was a licensing deal that Marvel had with Hasbro to produce those comics. The license now is with IDW. There's a lot of buzz for this new Micronauts series because Hasbro is determined they're going to make a Micronauts movie. Hasbro already owns the Transformers and they own G.I. Joe. You've seen those movies. They also want to do Rom Space Knight and the Micronauts as well. And that would explain why there's a big buzz for this book coming out. Speculators are thinking that the new Micronauts are going to use this newer material from 2016 instead of the campy 1970s, early 80s look that you see here. And IDW, of course, is going hardcore on the variants such as this one, but my favorite is a throwback replica of the Micronauts toy shown here. Fans, comic shops, and speculators got caught off guard when Boom Studios put out the Power Rangers, but I don't think that people are going to get caught blind this time, so the print runs are probably going to be higher than they were on the Power Rangers. So just pick the favorite one that you like and go with that. I'm going to get the toy version cover myself. Next up, our friends at Valiant Comics have scored a hit with Faith. This is issue #4. How many full-figured female characters do you see in comics? How many do you see with their own title? The answer is slim and none, pardon the expression. Just to show you the positive reaction this comic has gotten, Faith #1 is going to a 5th printing. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but it's 5th printing. Retailers went real light on it and the character was well received. Diversity is always great in comics, and by the way, it's a hilarious read. Sometimes comics get too dark and gritty and you need something a little lighter and a lot funnier like this. Next up is our speculator pick of the week, and that's going to be a release from Black Mass Studios called 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank. This new series is written by Matt Rosenberg. He's the same writer that wrote We Can Never Go Home. Right along with Divinity by Valiant Comics, We Can Never Go Home was one of the most critically acclaimed books and one of the biggest surprises of 2015. So can Matt Rosenberg and can Black Mass do it again? Yes, they can. I think a lot of people soured on them because they had some shipping delays, but that was due to a lawsuit the company was involved with, which has been resolved. So their books are going to ship on time, but retailers are probably going to under order this. Rosenberg is one of the best new writers out there, and he has a flair for writing about kids in trouble. If you see this book at your local comic store, go ahead and buy it. The eBay price is about $6 to $8 a piece right now. There's some limited variants of this that are selling for a lot of money on eBay as well. This cigarette box variant is limited to 200 copies and it's going for about $85 right now. I could never recommend anyone spend that much money on a new comic, but buy it if you really like it. If you can get the regular cover for a cover price, go ahead and get that and buy 2 of them, one to read and one to flip later. If you can get it for cover price and sell it for $20 later, that's a good strategy rather than the risk of paying $85 for something that could drop. That's about it for today. Thank you for watching Wicked Wednesday, where I review all the new comic books for a new comic day. Be sure to follow my blog at comicpower.net. On social media, follow me at facebook.com/comicpower.net and comicpower-universe.tumblr.com. And don't forget twitter.com/comicpowersub. I also sell comics on eBay at this link. This is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye. And don't forget to share this video, click on subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and tell everyone you know about this channel to help it grow. Thank you for your support.